fights that are breaking out at the joint practices, and some coaches are jumping in. Vrabel jumps in. He's in there. Got to talk about James Cook getting extended from the Bills. Sheduer, a little bit of an oblique injury, but the numbers came out from his preseason game. Very, very impressive. We've got a punter from Nebraska who's shedding tears, and I want to get your guys' thoughts. And then the head coach from NIU setting the record straight in the transfer portal NIL era. All this stuff, we got to get into it today. Here we go. Not going to get into jail if you participate in fights in football practice. You might if you're doing it on the street. But we've been seeing some fights here in these joint practices in NFL preseason camp here. And check this out. You know, before I say this, who are the toughest coaches in the NFL, you guys think? The most physically intimidating, who you'd be like, hey, let's go ride. Who would have your back?
Andy Reid.
He's a sleeper pick.
Sleeper.
Dan Campbell,
Literally.
for sure. Mike Tomlin's pretty scary, intimidating.
Tomlin would be. Yeah.
He's got those beady eyes.
Those beady eyes. I mean, they're like, boom. He's got you locked on. I think 10 years ago, I would have put Tomlin there at the top with the dudes. But yeah, Vrabel, Campbell are right there. Man, I'm definitely.
I think you're right. No, you're thinking. I'm going to ask you who you would not want to have in there, but you just said it, Vrabel. So there was a fight here with the Patriots and the Vikings, and look, our boy. Let's see, Vrabel jumps in. I love that. Look at him getting in there. He's in there. He's at the bottom of the pile. What do you think if a guy like accidentally throws an elbow and hits Vrabel in the cheek? How much trouble is this guy going to be?
Vrabel's going to see red. He's going to go at that guy's throat at the very least if something like that happens, and it kind of looks like it did.
Well, here, while we're on this, look who else got into it. Dolphins, Lions having practice, and our boy Dan Campbell was right in the middle breaking it up. So two of the guys that you guys picked. What do you guys think about these fights in preseason camp?
I think they're good. I think that's once you get to the point in camp, once you guys start fighting with each other, that's when you know you're ready for an opponent. You need an external opponent. But you take it right up to the line where, there's a little bit of bickering between offense and defense, a little bit of, fighting and physicality. And then a week, you want to be there a week before your first game. And then you guys have enough pent up energy for an external opponent.
So you're pro
philosophically.
You're pro fighting with a little bit of guardrails. Okay. Scott, where are you?
Yeah. I'm definitely pro fighting. It's unavoidable when we're all just sitting in the hottest of rooms at all times. It's like they purposely break or don't turn on the AC to gin up some sort of tension within you, keep you hyper focused on football. There's just, when you got that many dudes that are button heads literally throughout that period of time, you're going to have incredibly high tension, testosterone through the roof. It's going to happen on your own team. And then when you get into the joint practices, you're just butting up against another team that's doing the exact same thing. So I think it's fine if it's an expectation in your own team's camp. But when you get to joint practices, there are going to be a bunch of eyeballs on you. And I'm not a huge fan of those becoming the norm, but I understand why they happen.
But it feels like they are the norm. I feel like every time there's a joint practice, I mean, we had one with the Giants and the Jets also. Let me see. I'll throw this up. I mean, we went on.
But that's what I'm saying is the guys are going into it being like, okay, we're ready to fight, as opposed to just practicing.
But do you think it's it's pre-planned to be like, I'm going to start some shit today?
It might not be a conscious sort of decision that they're making, but they're definitely primed and ready to go because they've been going through the month and a half, 2 months of camp already with their own guys and doing it. So the next time they get to a guy who's trying to beat them and be a world beater on the other side of the ball and they're not part of the team, they're just going to see red, like I said, that Dan probably saw or Vrabel saw.
I would love to see Dan Campbell and Mike Vrabel go at it in the octagon. This right here, Giants Jets fight. We were talking about undercards last week. This is an undercard right here. These are kind of just meh teams, not so exciting. Watching them go, just kind of pathetic. That's where the Giants and the Jets are for me. Okay, so we were talking about which coach we would want to have on our side in a fight. Which NFL head coach would you least want to have on your side on a fight? Who would not have your back, would not be able to physically impose themselves on your enemy? Because there's someone in particular I'm thinking of.
Okay. Who's the part of me says Pete Carroll, but I also feel, just because of his body type, but I also feel like he's got a little scrappy mentality.
There was a video that came out of him tackling his assistant coach the other day. Good form.
What?
So,
Really?
Yeah. I should have.
That his time at USC is still inside and coming out. Who's the Bears coach?
Ben Johnson.
And
Nerd.
Yeah, nerd alert. Yeah,
Nerd alert.
I don't want you in a fight.
Okay, that's
I would
pretty
say,
good.
yeah, if you take Ben Johnson, but he's top of mind for us. I would say John Gannon down in the Cardinals. I think he's a sleeper pick there. I mean, not a sleeper pick, but a sleeper pick for this scenario.
He's your favorite.
Yeah. Shots.
Scott. Okay, Jonathan Gannon. That was good. I'm still traumatized by that video that came out when he first went to the Cardinals facility and he was trying to like dap up players and be cool. Almost as cringy as Liam Cohen's first time. Liam Cohen would probably be up there for me. But my number one pick, the guy I feel like I could not rely on to have my back in a fight in terms of NFL head coaches, Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel. Okay. And this is a guy I feel like he has no grasp of, we've talked about it, no grasp on his players or on his organization here. And they just did that joint practice, Lions and Dolphins. And apparently they were miles apart, these two organizations. Let's see what our boy Colin Cowherd had to say about this.
Mike McDaniel, not a guy that holds people accountable. They're a top 5 penalized team since he's been a coach of the Dolphins. So yesterday, the Dolphins had a practice with the Lions. The quote here is, "It was as lopsided a joint NFL practice as I've ever seen." You can't be a bowl of Jell-O. That's what Miami is. A lot of movement, no meat in the sandwich. And that's why I say with Miami and Mike McDaniel, what are they? And now he's trying to create accountability, and it's hard. Mike McDaniel.
Oh, yeah. I think it's too late for him. I don't think he can come back from like not creating a proper strong culture of accountability. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's so hard to try to steer that ship around and start demanding respect after you've been a buddy coach. That's nearly impossible.
Yeah, it would have to be just like guillotine effect. You'd have to clean house. And that means like with players that you have in the locker room, everything like that, guys who have knowledge of your approach prior to dropping that guillotine. So, but I got to go back to it. So I would say every head coach would definitely get in a scrum. It's not the will that I'm concerned about. It's the physical capability of backing you up in a fight. That's what we need to articulate. That is the difference here. So when I say Gannon or Ben Johnson, I know they'd love to get in the fight and they'd be there, but they'd get wiped right away.
Yeah. Oh, they'd love to. But here, Mike McDaniel, one, wouldn't love to. And also, even if he was forced to, physically couldn't do it. Okay. That's why I pulled up this picture of him. All right. You think this guy's going to back you up?
I think how narrow his shoulders are. Hey, lift any weights?
He was a Yale Bulldog, Scott.
He was, man. He was a walk-on too, which is awesome. Not that we have scholarships or anything like that, but he wasn't given a roster spot, and he walked on, and he was a part of the team for 4 years. So I have mad respect for him and doing all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, I like him more.
Yeah,
he's a fellow brother.
So he stuck with it, and he chose to do it. Like,
okay,
he experienced it. So that's the cool stuff about him. But I agree with you. Like, in terms of leadership, once you lose it or you never institute it, you can't build it up, especially after this is his 5th year.
Yeah, it's 4th or 5th year.
Yeah. So you can't build it up after the fact.
This is kind of something that there's talks about around the Packers and LaFleur. It's that he does not have the respect of veterans, and so they've been trying to get a younger and younger team so that they could have more control, because they'd have veteran guys standing up and talking back to him in meetings and swearing at him in meetings, and him not having a handle on vets. And so the organization chose to go, instead of the direction of, hey, we need a new head coach that can handle the team, they went, we need to get a new younger team that is more easily handled. Interesting way to handle that situation.
That's fascinating, because the last couple of years, the Packers have literally been the youngest roster in the NFL. And rumors are circulating. That is why. I could see that. I could see that too. Couldn't you?
It's interesting. It's an interesting strategy, right? So that just means that they value their coach and his mind and his capabilities to such a degree that they're willing to shift everything else in the organization, the roster and everything, to fit his what they love about him, right? As opposed to the other way around where it's like, oh, okay, we got a great roster here. Like, this isn't working. Get that guy out of here kind of thing.
Hey, speaking of Packers, what do you guys? I hate to go back to this. I'm sorry, but the QB tier list of Jordan Love, because obviously the other year, like what was it, 2 years ago, we got that big contract, and he's sitting here at 13th. I'm just like, I feel like he needs to prove something this year. I feel like he's in my opinion overhyped, not talent wise, but just compared to what he has done.
Because the Green Bay Packers have had such success. I mean, we talked about the Steelers having 3 head coaches over the course of 40 years or whatever it was, or is. And, there's like a sustained success there that's put into question by you, Nick, talking about like, oh, you've just gotten used to mediocrity in the past 10 years. I get the sense that Jordan Love is riding off of the fumes or the little gasoline that's left in the tank of what Brett Favre had built, what Aaron Rodgers had built upon from Brett. And then I think it's getting a little thin now.
It's interesting because I agree. I think, okay, the Packers have this. We are so good at getting our quarterback. We went from Favre to Aaron Rodgers. And then, of course, Jordan Love, our next quarterback, is, of course, going to be just as strong of a franchise quarterback as it was crazy when he got that contract. It felt early, didn't it?
Yeah.
It felt really early.
That's not to say he hasn't shown promise. I mean, he's been doing really well.
Yes.
So it's just, it hasn't reached the same level of success as the prior two. So that's why I say the organization, they may be running off the fumes because he's producing at a high level. He just has to take it to that next step in his career and in his evolution.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Okay. How about a team that's been pretty solid here, but can't find their way to the Super Bowl? They are trying to bolster their offense. They just signed Josh Allen to his long-term deal. And then, of course, they signed their running back, James Cook, the Buffalo Bills. $48 million extension. I think this places him as the third highest paid running back, I think, in the NFL, but behind Saquon and Christian, with $30 million guaranteed. This is a dude who has really, really produced, but it's interesting because I feel like of course we got the Saquon deal, the other, or was it this offseason? But the conversation around running back, and this is kind of, it feels like maybe the pendulum is swinging back to like, are we starting to value running backs again? What do you think?
I think so. I think it's about time. It's about time running backs. And also I think running backs it's more and more common that they're more versatile and being used more in the passing game and utilized, in different aspects that doesn't just pinhole them to being, between the tackles, as they say. So it's like people are using running backs smarter. And so their value is being more meat off the bone.
Yeah, I think I think that, like, we look at the running backs that have gotten these long-term deals, these big contracts, they're all guys that are really effective out of the backfield, really versatile. Like, you're not just having these downhill backs. Like, these guys.
This is what I always say, like, having a good receiving running back, if you throw your check down, it's a first down every time. Quarterbacks just hate throwing their check down because, it's just they just hate it. But if you go through your progressions and hit your running back on a swing or a little, a little option route, it is like 90% a first down. It's the most valuable thing to have a good receiving back that you can check down to.
You know who's actually the best or one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL at hitting their check down? Baker. I just saw a list. I can't remember what it was, but I said it was like most yards off check downs. And I think Baker was at the top of it.
Look, I know there's always the narrative of people saying, oh, that's cheap, like that's stat padding, all that kind of stuff. No, it's not. When you have a weapon, like you mentioned, McCaffrey or Cook or somebody of that nature that's there, that for a lot of guys, especially young QBs, that being your option number one after you go through your reads inefficiently is insane. That's great. That's great for your offense. I don't poo-poo on checkdowns whatsoever, especially when you have weapons like that, dude.
He does not poo-poo on the checkdowns. Okay?
There's our headline.
This just in. Let us not forget this play from the AFC Championship game, by the way. Let's just watch this. This reminds me of the Notre Dame run, too. Also.
I know.
doesn't it?
I was going to say that it's Jeremiah Love
Jeremiah
right here
Love.
in the NFL version, but this is why he's getting paid, is because he's putting his money or his body on the line. And going back to like the efficiency stuff and running backs being more efficient. What's really crazy is his overproduction here. Yeah, right here. So he's overproducing to such a degree. If you see him over there on the right, I mean, he's scored 8 or 9 times more than what was projected. And his touches, if you look at the next slide, compared to Kyron Williams, who just got paid at the Rams, he is carrying the ball half as much. Like, he has 485 touches in the NFL, which is ranking 29th amongst running backs. So like, the dude is producing way over his expectation. So
that
him
is
getting paid here is great. And Josh Allen needs all the help because he's such a generator himself. Give the dude some help.
Yeah, I love this. Wait, what was the next slide? I couldn't find a next slide.
Oh, here, let me send it to you. I don't know.
Okay. Well, so this is interesting. So this is basically expected. So the further to the right you are, that's you overperform. So like Jahmyr Gibbs basically is the most overperforming.
Yeah.
In terms of touchdowns.
Wow.
Yeah. Here, I'm dropping it right at the.
Thank goodness we have Scott here to break down this chart.
This is what our
I don't know
Yale is
how I
for.
would explain this to anybody.
Look at him. That's my quant. Look at his face. Okay.
Well, okay. So for all the positivity here, there you have to give the other side of the coin. So yes, he's overproducing for how many touches and everything like that for the Bills, and that's partly due to Josh taking on so much in the offense. Right? He's doing it with his legs. He's doing it with his arms. He's creating opportunities for guys who, for all intents and purposes, he doesn't have a Hall of Fame sort of caliber, or even like a sniff of the Hall of Fame yet caliber receiving room. Like, nobody in there is necessarily like big name, and yet he's producing all of this alongside James Cook. So that's why I say keep James with the team, give him the weapons, give Allen the weapons that he needs to kind of alleviate the pressure. And then secondarily, the flip side of that coin is like, while he got paid, it's hard to say that he's going to continue to clip at this level, because we're just talking about it. The usage, while his is low for a lot of these guys getting check downs and everything. I mean, Mikey, you could speak to this better, but just the longevity of career for running backs is so much lower, I feel like, than any other skill position, just because of the wear and tear on your body.
Yeah. But also, if it's all about how you take care of yourself. And in college, we had our coach, Michael Petrie. He was played with Maurice Jones-Drew. So Maurice Jones-Drew would come to our meetings and give good advice and talk about like longevity and how to take care of your body. And he always talked about like, you can extend your career as long as you want to if you're disciplined with your recovery. And he would talk about how he would go and he turned, like, halfway through his career, he turned all of his cardio work to just being in the pool and just limit the amount of joint, wear and tear outside of actual practicing games. And he's like, and then I got lazy with it. And he's like, if I wanted to play another 5 years, I could have, if I kept up with my discipline rehab stuff, but I got lazy with it and it was ready to be done. And it's just, obviously running back is one of the, heaviest on your body, but there are ways to manage it. If you're disciplined enough.
Yeah. I mean, we listen to even like Christian has talked about how, like, we're talking to like Marshall Faulk and some of these guys that really play extended careers at running back and taking care of your body. So it is possible. Here's my worry for James Cook now. Okay. So we have this, which is what we just said. So he was only used in 44.6% of the offensive snaps. We see him here at the bottom. Now that he got the big contract, is the expectation going to be that he needs to be on the field for 81% of snaps? Is his usage rate going to go up way more? And that oftentimes does lead to injury for running backs, at least the next year. Like, we see it. If you give a really high usage rate one year, it wears you down.
Yeah. I would say it's a natural expectation. If you're getting paid more, you're going to be shoehorned in there more frequently so that you're getting as much out of your investment as possible. But I think here with the Cook thing, going back to what I'm saying, is like, he's such a weapon that Josh Allen needs. Like, let Josh Allen do what he does, creating plays and everything like that. But having a weapon and a consistent weapon in James Cook there that doesn't necessarily have to take on more, but continue to do what he's been doing, is probably what they're looking at here. I can't imagine them increasing it, because they probably want to, at the same time, when you make an investment like this, you want to make sure that it stretches out in as far as possible and makes it to 4 years and everything like that. So maybe there may be a slight uptick because 29th is super low. And Josh Allen's going into his 8th year, I think, right now. And something needs to give to where he can make it to the top. So maybe they do start giving him the ball more, but I think it's going to be to a very small degree.
Here's my question about the Buffalo Bills. They have Josh Allen, who we just saw that QB tier list come out. I think he was 3rd. I also saw on one other QB pyramid where he was placed first. Now, being one of the most talented quarterbacks in the NFL, MVP, but not having made it to a Super Bowl. What do we think about Sean McDermott? Is he on the hot seat if they don't get to a Super Bowl in this year, perhaps? Do you think a franchise like Buffalo would move on from a coach like that?
That's tough.
Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Not do you think they would? Would you? If you're having solid success, you're getting deep into the playoffs, you're getting into the AFC Championship game, but you just can't get over the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you look for a new coach?
I mean, who are you going to replace him with that is going to be able to get over the Chiefs? I think
I don't know.
The best bet is just let him keep learning from his mistakes, maybe, and hope. I don't know. But it's hard because it's like, what are you going to blame? You have all the weapons in the world. What could you possibly blame?
I will say, John Gruden did just say he's chomping at the bit to get back into coaching.
Yeah, the SEC. But
that's true.
Well, talk about a story. What's going on there with him winning the the battle with the Nevada Supreme Court? So that's coming down the pipe. That's something to keep an eye on now that it's going to be. I believe Goodell's going to have to sit on the stand there and have a little conversation with some lawyers. So that's going to be interesting to watch how that unfolds. But going back to McDermott, look, he's a defensive minded dude. I think he's kept a cap on a lot of undercurrent changes within the organization over the past 5 years. There's been some back and forth with some of the coordinators, but all in all, they've stayed pretty even keel. So they've probably looked at him and seen how he manages a certain level of chaos and growth with the organization. And he's done such a good job to where they've remained very high, consistent winners. I think, yes, there's a certain amount of pressure that is on him to win the Super Bowl or get there at the very least. But I don't think you can move off, as Mikey's saying. Like, who are you going to get when you introduce an entire new sort of system or culture or anything like that? Is that really going to be a benefit to a guy, as I said, Josh Allen, who's in this 8th year, being compared to Peyton Manning in his career and its trajectory? Doesn't have the Hall of Famers that Peyton Manning had on the receiving core or in the backfield and Edgerrin James or even on the defensive side. Like, he doesn't have why am I blanking on the defensive end? Smaller dude. Oh, Dwight Freeney. Dwight Freeney. Yeah. So it's like, let's not add a whole nother variable to something that's working and almost there.
You're right. I feel like this is always a fan perspective.
Yeah.
Like, dude, we got to get a new head coach. It's like, hey, you guys been to the AFC Championship game like multiple years in a row. You want to start over? It's like these guys also were like calling for Kyle Shanahan's head after one bad year because everyone was hurt. So it's just like, all right, you're a casual fan.
Yeah,
shut up. All right, Sean McDermott, you're fine according to us. Can we go back to this chart really quickly, Scott? So this means here that Justin Jefferson is underperforming compared to Jamar Chase, if I'm reading this graph correctly.
Yeah. He didn't meet the expectations in terms of touchdowns. I believe this is strictly touchdowns. Yeah. Actual versus expected.
Just on touchdowns. Okay, it's just on touchdowns.
So, I mean, I would love to see yardage, receptions, and those data points. But in this specific outlook, yes, he is underperforming comparatively.
Look who's performing pretty well. Also, Mark Andrews, tight end down here.
But then you add, okay, you could look at this in a snapshot and time frame. It's like, yeah, Jamar may be outperforming Justin. Cool. Okay. But at the same time, look at the wins-loss record. Is he really outperforming him if they're not winning? I mean, yeah, he's doing everything he possibly can with Joe Burrow and the offense to win. But like that's where the rub is. It's like, yes, you're outperforming, but are you winning?
Fair. Look at another overperformer, Terry McLaurin. We're talking about him. He's trying to get his contract right there.
Yeah.
All right. That's interesting. That's actually very, very interesting. Trey McBride underperforming big time. What a loser. That's how we interpret this chart. Okay, there we have it. All right, Scott, it's time. We do it every show. We talk about the Cleveland Browns. Okay. we're going to talk a little Sheduer because the numbers came out from the preseason game. And look at this. And you know what? This is because of Sheduer. I don't care if anyone tries to make any other excuses. This was the most watched NFL preseason game on NFL Network in a decade. They had 2.2 million viewers. You know what's wild is like this is more than NBA regular season games. I think like substantially more for an NFL preseason game. For, let's face it, a franchise that is not great. But hey, I do think that this is kind of the Sheduer effect. Do you agree or are not?
Yeah, this is easy. I mean, the media, as I've been saying, the media loves the fact that Sheduer is here. He gets clicks wherever they go, or wherever he goes, he gets clicks, he gets eyeballs on him. So the narrative is always going to be about him so that it can juice numbers and everything like that. I don't think it's hit. I mean, he's got a hand in it because he has his own social media brand that he promotes and everything like that. But I think this is cool that it happened on an NFL network, not a CBS or Fox or anything like that. It's like a niche channel that this happened on. So seeing these numbers just solidifies the fact that the NFL is king. And I can imagine even the other games were still quite high. They were probably north of 1.2, 1.3 at the very least. But it is great. And this is also why the Cleveland Browns, I have a sneaking suspicion, went for him. Because, any press is good press. The Browns need the good press. And I think just having Sheduer in the building will bring a lot of eyeballs to the organization that's trying to make a lot of moves. It's getting the new stadium, to my chagrin, and everything like that. So it's trying to move in the right direction and kind of change the narrative. As over the past few years, we've had a dude behind center that a lot of problems there. So it's a matter of just like, hey, let's get something else going here. Let's talk about some positive storylines, people who have shots, watch them grow in the NFL, or hopefully not devolve.
Yeah. And no, I'm with you. I like that theory there with the Browns. Maybe, because how else do you explain taking those two quarterbacks going third round and fifth round? It's just not a media play and just like, hey, let's see what you can do. You're at least going to bring eyeballs to us. So.
Yeah, it's probably part of like take the best athlete off the board at that point in time. But he was like, it is confusing. That's why I just think it is Haslam's taking a page out of Jerry Jones's book here and is thinking marketing first, business first.
Respect it. I respect it. Okay, you got a football. It's a television show. Do not forget. But football is a television program.
Soap opera.
It is a soap opera, according to Jerry Jones. All right, so that's our NFL stuff. You guys want to dive into a little college here? This tweet was floating around. All right, Mikey, I know. I can't wait to get your opinion on this. I cannot wait.
Nice. My expert opinion.
Talk about being primed.
You are a guy.
I'm so nervous.
I believe. No, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. It's right up your alley. You were at a lot of weddings this year.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? And here we go. This tweet was going around. Hot take. Dudes that get upset about fall weddings because they can't watch football are selfish and immature. That tweet was going pretty crazy. Yeah, it's got 10 million views, that tweet.
Oh.
Okay. Now, do you agree with that? Or do you agree more with this guy, Jake, who says worst take of the year? Where do you stand? Mikey, especially as a guy that's been invited and obligated to go to a lot of weddings in recent memory.
I'm on Jake's side here. And here's why.
Wow.
Okay. When you are setting, worst take of the year. Wait.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. When you are picking a date for your wedding, it's not just about you. It's not just, I want to get married on this day. No, it's about when you invite people to your wedding, you are placing a burden on a lot of people. And you have a little bit of responsibility to pick a time frame or a window that makes it a little bit more pleasant for your guests. For example, I was once invited to a wedding in the middle of football season when I was playing at Oregon State, and it was the day after a game. We were playing Purdue, and I told them, and I was supposed to be in the wedding. I told them from the very beginning, 6 months in advance, I can't be there. It's the day after, I can't get there. And they just kept, they stuck with the date and expected me to show. I had to skip it.
Fair.
Keep it to the summer. Just keep your weddings to the summer. Or the spring when things are blossoming. That's the better time to get married.
That's fair. And there's one date this year. I can't remember which week of college football, but there's like maybe it's middle of October where there's a bunch of top tier matchups, and anybody who has the wedding on that date is a jerk. Scott, where do you fall on this? As a guy,
I think it's like I think that's the week you're talking about. I think it's September 21st or 23rd. I don't know why that's in my head. Maybe it's is that the fall equinox? Something
I don't know, man.
One of my favorite equinoxes.
Top tier equinox.
No, because Mikey does have a point. It's like, come on, man. Couldn't you have moved it up? If you're going to do it in the fall, do it early. Do it early fall so that it's early in the season. You know, games, while they matter, they don't matter as much as toward the end. You know, guys, I think they need to implement themselves a little more into the planning so that they can make sure to avoid situations like this. I think the responsibility falls on the groom to be a little more active in this conversation. So
it's
kind of like hey, you better fix this. It's on you.
Hear me
I
out.
agree.
Yeah.
Go.
The groom, if say you're forced to have it and there's a great game that day, you better have TVs on at your reception so that people can watch the game while they're enjoying because then that's actually fun. That's cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Or DJ stopping the music to give updates on scores.
Well, that'd be the bare minimum.
Yeah.
That's bare minimum. Give me a couple TV. So, Mike, what do you think of my wedding date? I mean, my wedding was a hassle to get to. Everybody
was talking about a schlep.
I was gonna say I thought he was gonna talk about your wedding.
Well, hey, at least hold on, let me define. At least my date was not during football season. Okay. You had to fly, everyone had to fly all the way to Germany and then had to do about a 4-hour drive in a van. And then you're in this little town. And then you had to get a shuttle up to our wedding location. And then you couldn't leave until the shuttle came back to get you. We only had one shuttle. So I appreciate everyone's sacrifice, but at least you didn't have to miss a college football game.
Nick's wedding, Nick and Laura's wedding. Okay. The venue, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Once you get up there, it's great. But here's what they did. They were just one day they were hiking on top of a mountain. Okay. They were at a location where you had to hike to. And they go, we should get married here. And then just everybody will just figure out how to get here. And then they did that. Now, granted, it was incredible. It was beautiful. Blah, blah, blah. But what a schlep.
Talk about a schlep, okay? Scott didn't make the schlep.
I had a baby. I couldn't do it.
Scott was like, I'm having my firstborn son that day. You
have to pick. It's either me or your son.
I've been saying, I think that Scott cares about his kids more than me. That's crazy. All right. Speaking of college football here, let's go. Scott, this is going to be a little bit hurtful because NIU had the win against Notre Dame, the upset against Notre Dame last year. But their head coach is kind of awesome, okay? And he had this, Thomas Hammock. It's a great name. This perspective. Oh, hold on. Let me throw it up. Because we talk about a lot of this, and I think that we're going to like his perspective. This is 2 minutes, and I think most of it is worth listening to.
Big guy.
I told our team the other day, we lost all these guys. Let's see who plays. So it's all good when people put it on Twitter, hey, all glory to God, I'm going in the transfer portal. Let's see if they play. How many of them guys going to play or travel or get snaps? I was going to tweet something the other day, a picture of me, and say, you know what? I enjoyed my college experience. I didn't get one dime, but the lessons I learned was more valuable than any money you can ever pay me. And I appreciate that because that is long term. People are losing the fact that this is short term. I coached in the National Football League for 5 years. 5 years, right? Don't lose focus of what the long term. Get your degree, learn valuable lessons that's going to help you in the long term of your life. That's the whole purpose. This is a transition from being a kid to a grown-up. And I hope people don't lose focus of that. Everybody's talking about everything else besides what is the most important thing for going to college. Because if you're going to college to go get a couple dollars, you might as well go get a job. This is too hard to go get a couple dollars. Learn the lessons that you need to learn to be successful in life for the next 40 to 50 years of your life. I would do it again for free, because of the things I learned. That's why I'm standing here today, because of what I learned in college. not because of how much somebody gave me. That's what I would tell people. And parents, they need to learn that lesson too. Stop trying to live through your kids. Go teach your kids what are the things they need to learn to be successful. That's what I'm telling my kids. I don't care about no NIL, no revenue share. I can care less. You need to learn things in college to get you prepared for life, to be a father, a husband, to work, everything else. Those are the most important things. That's what people are missing, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
But hey, this man, I'm fired up from this guy. I like that when you said college is about the transition from becoming a kid to an adult. A lot of this, it felt like I was thinking about Nico Iamaleava, the quarterback that won from Tennessee. It was a good pronunciation. From Tennessee to UCLA. Also, like directing at his dad. Like, stop trying to live through your kids, because apparently his dad was pulling the strings behind that stupid move. What do you guys make of this?
First of all, I like this coach. This seems like a great coach to play for. You can tell he's actually a guy who cares and cares about the development of players. And I think what he's saying is true for 95, 99% of college athletes. But when you have instances where you could make millions of dollars when you're in that tier, I think you need to take advantage of that money. For the guys who are like going to transfer and probably lose playing time and lose development for $100,000 or $50,000, like, I think his point is valid for that tier of guys, which is the majority.
Yeah, I think right here is he's speaking to the entirety of NCAA football players, not necessarily the guys who are making
the stars.
Seven figures, right? So 7 figures, that's actually quite rare, regardless of what the media is hyping it up to be and everything like that. We talked about it the other day about the art of getting the 10 to 50K sort of deals and everything. And that's not chump change for guys who are in college, but it's a much lower degree. And that's probably closer to what reality is for at least the guys who are fighting for starting spots on the majority of teams that are playing in the NIL sort of game. So I think what he's talking about here is like the exception to the rule cannot become the rule. And a lot of guys, while their dreams may be big and their confidence and their pursuits may be super high and they believe in themselves that they're going to make it to the league and do all of these things, is quite short-sighted. And that's understandable because everybody who's going into college, they're still mentally children and kids for the most part. And having that sort of outlook without understanding that life is a long game, unless you're making millions immediately right there, you need to start building up those pillars that will help keep you afloat in life. And that's not to say that we all experienced college. We all had teammates. We all had, call it events that happened that got in the way of pursuits of making yourself a mature college person or a mature adult. Like, I wouldn't say college is necessarily that today, especially for athletes. But it's all about you as a young man taking responsibility upon yourself. And I think that's what he's saying. It's just like, you got to have this sort of outlook when you're approaching this challenge and this pursuit in college, having a realistic look and not getting caught up in your, my dream is to do this. Because even if you make it to the NFL, it's not for long. It's not guaranteed that you're going to remain there for 10, 15 years. You could be only there for 15 months tops. And then all of a sudden you're shit out of luck. So it's a matter of building up those pillars in those moments in time. And I think it's incumbent upon a lot of coaches, first and foremost, parents. I love how he shouted out parents.
Yes.
It's upon the parents to develop their children to a degree so that they understand the gravity of what they're doing in their pursuits in college. And then secondarily, I think the coaches must help build upon that when they're at those institutions. Granted, I understand it's their livelihood, it's their life and everything like that. So they're going to have to try and reconcile that alongside developing kids and also pursuing their hopes and dreams and their desires for their own families. So it's a difficult balance, but that's the responsibility you take on as a coach, and you must take on that responsibility and push it forward like this guy's doing. So if there's any coach that I'd like to see or would be okay with them beating Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman, it'd be this guy.
Yeah, that makes it be like, all right, that little blip is okay. Do you remember when they won? I mean, I didn't really know anything about him then, but he was like so emotional. He was all teared up, all his players. Like, it was actually I know we really like Notre Dame on this show, but it was actually really, really beautiful, that moment of them. And that was the first time I ever heard him spoke, or maybe I heard one little clip after they beat Notre Dame. And I just think he's a pretty admirable coach, and he gets it.
Yeah.
So speaking of young guys going to college, okay, you go.
Mike, Mike, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I have some rebuttals about Scott's monologue here. Okay, I agree with. Okay, let me remember the point. It's solid. It's worth it. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You said, okay. This way. I agree with you that you need to take advantage of the development and understand that, you got to start preparing for life after football, and you can't get caught up in the dream and these elaborate goals that you have as a young kid while you're in that environment. I also believe that for the vast majority of the guys who make it, they believed in their own delusion, because that's what it takes. If everybody came in with a realistic approach to what they're doing, okay, nobody would believe, no one would do the extra mile, because it's like, oh, only 2% of guys make the NFL. Then what's the point of even doing anything? If you're doing it with the thought that, like, there are advantages to going all in and believing in the delusion. No great feat has ever been accomplished without believing in a delusion that was not a reality. Now, obviously, and I do believe, like, the self-development you get out of doing that and going all in is transferable, whether or not you make it or not. The development you get from going all in and going, I'm doing this no matter what, everything else can take a backseat for now, particularly with sports, because it is like we've talked about before, one of the only fleeting life pursuits that you have one shot at. So I think there is a balance between going all in, taking advantage of your one shot, and also being prepared for life after and understanding, like, that's a real possibility.
That's a great rebuttal. And I want to make it clear, like, when I say that, you need to go into it with a realistic approach, because for this is only a reality for 0.01% of the guys who are playing college ball at any of the levels, right? And I totally hear you. Like, you need to believe in yourself in order to actually achieve or have a potential to achieve being one of those people in that 0.01%. So I completely agree with you. You have to have belief in yourself. But this is also part of the maturation process and understanding that life is not a singular track motion. There are compartmentalizations that need to occur, that need to develop in life. So, like, using the example of being a father and also having a career, and having those two things be two distinct, very different rails of life, and pursuing them to the nth degree and doing them as best you possibly can. One cannot be sacrificed for the other. You can do that, but life is going to be much harder for you in the long game. So that's why I'm saying it's part of the maturation process, and I think that's what he was trying to articulate there. But you're right. You have to believe in yourself.
I like to think, like, life is not on a track. Life is a garden, okay? You're not, okay? Just cultivate all corners of your garden. But it's all one garden, okay? Actually, I got that.
Namaste.
You have a green thumb, huh?
Hey, like that? You guys like that right there? All right. No, I think you guys both.
I've never seen you hold a rake in my life.
What?
I said, I've never seen you hold a rake in my life.
Well, we have a couple plants in our apartment. Mostly Laura takes care of them, but that's, so the ones that I had are dead. They were cactuses.
How do you kill a cactus?
Well, apparently cactuses do need water like once a year, which I forgot. All right. Speaking about this is the last thing I have on this. Okay. Speaking about young men going off to college and getting developed through being away from home, being a part of a sports team, going through the hardships here. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this, okay? This Australian punter, we're no strangers. This is so classic. These Australian guys coming up from down under to come kick in college football, to be punters. From Nebraska, Archie Wilson, okay? He got quite emotional here, and this was making the rounds. And I want to get your guys' thoughts and feelings on it.
What's it like being first time you're away from them?
Yeah, that part's hard. I mean, I'm sorry.
Porter knew what he was doing here.
Yeah, I love them a lot. Yeah, I got two little brothers and my mum and dad, and yeah, that's the tough part about being here. I love them a lot and I miss them, but it's I mean, they know this is what's best for me, and it's good. I can still talk to them plenty over the phone, and they're coming here to see the first few games, so I'm looking forward to that. Cool. Thanks, guys. Great meeting you all.
Okay. Okay.
Great recovery. Lovely recovery.
Hell of a recovery from the Aussie.
Yeah.
All right.
That made me
and
sweaty.
Look, I don't want to be mean because I think that sentiment is beautiful. But also that's part of it. All right. Like
That's the whole thing.
that's the whole thing. And all right, it's a good thing that he's a punter, because if a linebacker or another player went up on the podium and did that and the opposing team saw it, I mean, you just showed a lot of weakness there. And it's not that you don't have to feel those feelings. Something about breaking down and bawling in front of the reporters doesn't sit well with me. Am I being a jerk?
No, I completely agree with you. That's the cost of entry. Everybody's away from home. Everybody. Yeah. Yes, your flight is a little longer, but 95% of the guys fly in and are a flight away from a home. But
Mike, is this your reaction when you came to Germany?
yeah, but mine was about the no AC and nobody spoke English and all this stuff.
I'm about to cry from the no AC myself. Scott, here, tell me I'm not being a jerk.
No, you're not being a jerk. I think Mikey's right. It's like, to a certain degree, there are probably a lot of homers there. Nebraska guys, you got to get the hometown guys to be part of a team to keep culture, the same for an organization. So some guys get to experience family more frequently, but for the majority, I mean, Mikey, you were at Oregon State, so it was a little closer, but Nick, you and I, we were on the other side of the country for our college careers. And I think God love them. I mean, my parents were working at the time, so like they could only get over so frequently. They only visited maybe once, twice throughout my 4 years. So it's like, it's part of the maturation process, as we were talking about here, is like in this day and age when we don't have, for men specifically, an ability for them to kind of become men, right? We don't have that sort of ritual in this day and age. This is actually the athlete's sort of ritual. It's them going out on their own in the world, in a competitive environment, both academically, mentally, and physically through those feats. So this is like a moment where you have to find your way and mature on those fronts. And, I'm not opposed to showing emotion whatsoever. It's just tough to do it. The reporter knew what he was doing here.
Yes.
Yeah.
The reporter
in this question at him. He's like, oh, he's a punter. I got him.
Sneaky reporter.
I got him.
Got him. Got the clip. But
yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe you're right. At Nebraska, there's a good amount of homers there, but it's like your flight is longer. All right, maybe there's a little bit more of a time. Everybody is dealing with this at college. And so I think that's where I'm just like, I don't want to say suck it up, because those emotions and feelings are totally valid and we all have those, but just like, suck it up, bro.
Yeah, like the homesickness thing, like some people who are just claiming homesickness, I know there are like different degrees of it, and it can get to like becoming a really debilitating thing for some mentally and everything like that. But it truly is part of being able to develop as a child into an adult and being able to handle those unknowns. Like you're now in the real world. You're not going to be able to function as you normally would in the safety of your home and everything. So do the best you can.
Scott,
don't cry.
Do the best you can. Don't cry. Did you feel homesick when you went to go play at Yale?
Yeah, I think freshman year for sure. I had the added benefit of Sean being there. Yeah, so like my brother, getting to go to college with my brothers and playing with my brothers was definitely a huge benefit. So I never fully experienced it, but freshman year there were points, because like obviously Sean had his own pursuits in everything. He was a starter on the team, 2-year starter at that point too, and like he was deeper into his academic career, so he knew some things. And I was just like I was bumbling around trying to figure it out on the field in the playbook, and then in class, just being like, what the hell is going on? So like there were elements of that happening for sure.
Also, like it's your freshman year fall camp. I mean, especially there is a feeling of just desperation and hopelessness. I remember feeling like hopelessness. I mean, I never showed it and I was locked in. Okay. And I was doing all right. I felt hopeless for 31 days. There was like, okay, my life has no joy anymore.
Dude.
These are my days, and I will never feel joy again. But also, guess what I didn't do? I didn't cry at a press conference. I
Right.
don't think you know.
Because nobody interviewed me, but
yeah. I was gonna say I never got the opportunity to stand on a podium.
No, probably got some sort of newspaper interview a couple years later.
Just crying in my bed at night. That's where I left my crying.
So-
Yeah, no, that's a good point though. It's like every freshman football player, unless you were like 5-star recruit, guaranteed a starting spot kind of thing. You know, I mean, even them, they go through their own struggles because they have to perform at that level. But most freshman dudes going through the rigors, especially during camp, it's just like, what did I sign up for?
Yes.
What is this? What is happening? It's
Not good.
tough.
It is tough. So I think I worry that we probably look like jerks here, but I think we got our sentiment out. Yes. I'm on the side of the Nebraska punter, and I wish him the best, and I respect the emotions. All right,
I'm on the side of the reporter.
Reporter is sneaky. Got a good clip. All right, there we have it. Good stuff. Try not to cry, you guys. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we will see you on the next one.